This book is about how to encourage creativity and risk-taking in a corporate environment. But there are two things that I really like about it. The first thing is that he has a lot of really great behind-the-scenes stories about some of the most iconic movies that have ever been made. And if you're like me, you probably have some very vivid memories of the first, second, or 20th time that you've seen some of these movies, and they had a huge impact on you growing up. The overall point of the book is that these movies take years to make, and the first version of the movie is often vastly different than what ends up coming out in the movie theater years later. Their special power at Pixar is being able to break down each scene frame by frame and determine objectively, is this doing what we want it to do? Is this evoking an emotional response from the audience, the specific emotional response that we're going for? The second thing is, Ed is a very soft-spoken technical guy. And even though he's a leader of a creative company and a very high-level people manager, he got his start in computer science at the University of Utah, studying some very detailed and nuanced computer graphics techniques at the time. He took a very long, circuitous route from that to founding Pixar and transforming it and building it up into a multi-billion-dollar company, and then becoming a high-level executive at Disney as well. So he has some very interesting perspectives on managing people and managing teams. Here's a good example. He says that in any business, there are different divisions. There's a sales division, there's a quality division, engineering, production, legal, all these different divisions, and they all have their own goals. And there are times when sometimes these goals compete with each other, and there's a trade-off between one and the other. And he says it's the manager's job to know what is the perfect balance between all of these. Because if you go too far and you say, quality is the only thing that matters, which is one example of a mistake that he says he made in the past. If you say quality is the only thing that matters, then not only does it make all the other people feel like they're second-class citizens or not really part of the team, but it's not true, because you can easily go overboard on quality and sacrifice your production. If you're nitpicking every single detail of every single thing, you'll never produce anything, and that's bad for business. Okay, I have a confession to make. I'm retired now, and I started watching TV again. So my new favorite TV show is called The Bear. It's about a restaurant, and the owner is struggling to make this failing restaurant work, basically. And so if you've ever seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But there's one episode where they start doing DoorDash. They turn on the online ordering, and spoiler alert, it goes horribly wrong because they get way too many orders on the first day, and they're just not ready for it. They have over-indexed now on sales, and they just don't have the infrastructure. They don't even have enough food to satisfy all these customers. This whole episode covers what happens within the first 5 minutes after they turn on the online ordering, and it's just painfully hard and terrible, and everything goes wrong. This is kind of like an over-exaggeration of what happens in companies when they go too hard on one metric at the expense of all the other ones. Another example that comes to mind is Rolex. Rolex has the reputation for being the highest quality, most luxurious watches in the world. But the reality is they're not actually the highest quality. They're not actually the most expensive watches that you can buy. They're just the most well-known because they were the most successful. And the reason why they were the most successful is the managers at Rolex figured out exactly what's the right level of quality to shoot for, exactly how luxurious to make their watches, and then how to balance those things with all the other aspects of the business, like manufacturing and advertising, in order to make the business the most profitable. And you can't just go in and say, I'm going to make Rolex but more luxurious, but with higher quality. It's not going to work because there are inherent trade-offs in these things, and more is not always better. So that's it for today. I love this book. I love Pixar. Go buy the book, go buy a movie, go buy a Rolex, whatever you want. I'll see you soon.